Hello everybody, welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. 2 days, 2 new shows. What's the matter with you, Chris? I've got bills to pay, Anna, kids to feed. No, I'm joking. Obviously, racing started again, so there's lots to talk about. There would have been quite a few new shows last week had I not been in the French Alps, but hey, what are you going to do about it? We're back. And hopefully, we're going to be bringing 3 new shows a week to you now. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting next week. So today's Wednesday, and we've got some news for you. Let's get into it. Oosh. All right, and first up, and continuing on from yesterday, we spoke about Fabio Jakobsen and that crash. I'm going to delve into that in a second because there was a few comments about it yesterday. But the good news is that his condition has improved significantly enough for him to be able to be transferred to a hospital in the Netherlands, which is going to be much closer to, obviously, his home, his friends and his family. So that's amazing news. He's able to move his legs and move his arms. Obviously, he's had extensive facial surgeries, and like I said yesterday, no neurological issues have been found with him. So it's amazing news that he's able, less than a week on now, to be able to be transferred back home. So that's amazing. But yesterday in the comments, I didn't really address the sprint. I didn't really address what had happened. I thought everyone's had their 2 penneth now, and you didn't want to hear my opinion. But someone in the comments said that Dylan Groenewegen should have been charged for attempted murder. Well, I'll start with that and just say that is absolutely mental, right? His intent wasn't to make sure that the guy who he didn't even know was there would get somersaulted and sent flying through these barriers that weren't adequate for the job at hand. Now, whether the sprint's downhill or it's on a flat, coming into the final K, the speeds are high. That's it. And I think what people forget is just how difficult it is to control and maintain the same trajectory. When your head's down, your head's up, your head's down, you've got people to the left, to the right, you're going full pelt, maximum heart rate, maximum power output. So it doesn't surprise me that people every now and again veer off the line. But with Groenewegen, you can see that at least my thought of his thought process being a sprinter was, out of his peripheral vision, he would have been able to see that barrier, right? And out of his peripheral vision, he wouldn't have been able to see Jakobsen just behind him. And essentially he's realised that between him and the barrier is enough of a gap for someone to fit down. No one's there. I'll just edge myself over enough to stop anybody attacking and coming through the inside. That's all he's done. And because no one's there, he thought it was safe enough. And if there was someone from behind, they're going to have to shut off and throttle off and go out the back, and they're going to lose that sprint. His deviation was... listen, it was an illegal move, whichever way you cut it in the eyes of the UCI and the organisers. But his move wasn't erratic. It was a slow, progressive move across. Yeah, illegal, wrong, whatever. But it wasn't like he chopped across. He moved across. By the time he was there and he was close enough to the barrier, Jakobsen had committed to going through. And don't forget, roles reversed, Jakobsen would have done exactly the same thing. Anybody who's in that position, any sprinter would have tried to just close that gap, no matter how small that deviation would have been. I am telling you now, because of it was just... the distance between him and the barrier was just enough for someone to come down, and just moving over 6 inches, it would have stopped someone coming through. And that obviously that was his intention. His intention was to never put someone in danger like that. If you saw the interview with him afterwards, he was absolutely heartbroken. So yeah, it was wrong. Yeah, it was illegal. Was it intentional? It was intentional to deviate slightly, but the intention wasn't then to cause what he caused. So to be thrown in jail for attempted murder in a bike race, that's not right. But luckily for Groenewegen, it looks like Jakobsen is going to make a full recovery and hopefully be back sprinting for victories in the near future. Next up, and is this the sign of things to come? We've only just started this season. The World Tour technically started at Strade Bianche on the 1st of August, but we're already starting to see races being cancelled. And the latest races to be cancelled by the UCI at World Tour level are the races for both the men and the women over in China. So originally the men's Tour of Zhuangzi, that's right, innit? Was originally rescheduled for the 5th and 10th of November, and there was 2 women's races, the Tour of Chongming Island and the Tour of Zhuangzi. Apologies. I can only apologise for that terrible pronunciation. The Tour of Zhuangzi for the women, that was on November the 10th. They've been cancelled. Now, a race that hasn't been cancelled yet, I mean, there's still a chance that every single race could get cancelled at any point. But the World Championships over in Switzerland are still going ahead. However, there's going to be a very small contingent from Australia cycling because they are refusing to send under-23s and juniors and only allowing the elite riders who have been based in Europe for more than 2 weeks prior to the World Championships permission to race there. In a press release that came out today, Cycling Australia CEO and Managing Director Steve Drake said, "The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade currently advises there is a ban on overseas travel from Australia without an exemption from the DFAT. Our primary concern is the health of our athletes and staff. As such, Cycling Australia will not be conducting any national team campaigns or projects outside of Australia before the 1st of January 2021. In respect to the 2020 UCI World Road Championships, Cycling Australia will continue to monitor the situation." Drake continued to say, he said, "Cycling Australia will only consider selecting and endorsing entries for elite riders. Riders in these categories wishing to be considered will need to have been based in Europe for a minimum of 2 weeks prior to the date of the start of the competition in question." Which shouldn't be really a major issue for both the men's and the women's elite riders of Cycling Australia because they're probably already here now. So as long as they stay healthy and they don't contract the virus, then there's every chance that they could be going. And the elite level of Cycling Australia shouldn't be affected too much. But we're not going to see any juniors, and we're also not going to see any under-23s at the World Championships this year. Next up, transfer news. We spoke yesterday about the signings that Israel Startup Nation had made, including your man, Carl Friedrich Hagen. On top of that, now they have got the right-hand man for Chris Froome. Michael Woods is moving from EF Pro Cycling, heading over to Israel Startup Nation to become Froome's right-hand man. Which puts Dan Martin in a... I don't know, does that give Dan Martin a bit more free rein? Now that Froome's got someone like Woods to stick by him and take him through? Or do you think Dan Martin is going to take a step down in that roster and he's going to be essentially the second super domestique for Froome now? Because I've said it before, Dan Martin is capable of winning. If things go right for him and he's on form and he gets a little bit of luck, there's no reason why he can't be right up there at the sharp end towards the end of a Grand Tour. This year, hey, who knows? It's as open as it's ever going to be. So potentially, this might be only Dan Martin's chance to actually get a podium stroke win at the Tour de France. But yeah, what do you think to Michael Woods heading to Israel Startup Nation? Is that somebody that Froome needs? Does he need more Michael Woods to be able to get the victory that he's so desperately seeking for a 5th Tour de France victory? Or is it, are they just pissing in the wind and Woods is potentially going to step over Froome and become the main contender for GC? I don't know. Interesting move though. Let me know what you think down below. Next up, and today marks the day of the start of the Criterium de Dauphiné. In fact, by the time you watch this, the first stage will be done. However, we're going to take a quick look at the rest of the stages, give my opinion on who I think is going to go well there, who's not going to go well there, and how this is going to act as a bit of a dress rehearsal, not only for the riders for the Tour de France, but also the organisers, the media, and the fans as well. So yesterday, Christian Prudhomme spoke to French newspaper Nice Matin, and he had this message for the fans. Hey up, it's me, Christian Prudhomme. Can't shake this Yorkshire accent, I tell you. Anyway, there will be people alongside of the road at the Tour de France this year, and apart from starts and finishes and on climbs, where there will be restrictions, life will go on as normal elsewhere. That's why we're calling for people to please wear masks. Not Halloween masks, not GIMP masks, these masks. Alright? If you love the Tour and its champions, wear a mask when you're cheering front side up road. And that's really not only in those areas, at the start and the finishes where it will be enforced. We want people to wear them everywhere. Remember, face masks, not GIMP masks. So on top of that as well, fans are going to have to stay at least 2 meters away from the riders at all times. They're not going to be able to request autographs. They're not going to be able to request selfies. And I dare say there's going to be some sort of ban on giving out bid-ons as well because, like, put one in your mouth, chuck it at a fan's face. It's not gonna go down very well, is it? So, but this really is the dress rehearsal. Potentially, this could be the Tour de France this year. If it doesn't go ahead, the Dauphiné will be looked at as the Tour de France of the 2020 season. So as I said, by the time you watch this, the first stage will be done. All 5 stages finish on a mountaintop finish or an uphill finish. It literally is a mini Tour de France. They've reduced it down from 8 stages down to 5 stages, and it really is just a battle right from the off of all the GC contenders. And if you look at the start list, it's a who's who of potential winners of this year's Tour de France. Yesterday we looked at Team Ineos and we also looked at Jumbo-Visma. I can't help thinking that it's going to be between them two, and I can't help thinking that the top and bottom of it is Roglic is going to win. It's his to lose, really. The form they're coming into it, the form he's coming into it, yeah, it's definitely his to lose. But is there an outside bet? Is there an outside opportunity? Like, my money is on Tadej Pogačar. He's got a solid team around him. I mean, can you discount Nairo Quintana? He's going to be there or thereabouts. So what do we think down below? Leave your comments. Is it Primož Roglic's to lose? Do we think we're going to see one of those outside bets making an audacious move on one of the, I don't know, I think there's 700 climbs in squeezed into 5 stages on this one. So I don't know. Oh, they also go up St. Martin de Belleville, where we stayed last year in the Alps, which is interesting. A little fact for you there. They finish it. That's the road that heads up to Val Thorens, but they're only doing like a 14-kilometre climb. But that climb, for a fat, overweight, old person, is bloody difficult. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. But yeah, let me know down below. Should we be taking some outside bets on this one? And what is this going to mean? This is probably the most important question. What's this going to mean for Team Ineos and their hierarchy there? We heard yesterday from Lanterne Rouge that, you know, Team Ineos are going to be mad not to take Froome to the Tour, but are they prepared not to take him if he doesn't show the form that he should be on? I mean, he shouldn't be all guns blazing right now, but if he's not on the form that they expect him to be on here, what's going to happen, knowing that he's off next year anyway? It's, man, it's such an exciting season. There's so much going off, and today's race might have been bloody amazing. I don't know, but I'll fill you in with it on Friday, if not before. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you leave all your comments down below. As usual, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you've not enjoyed it for whatever, hit that dislike button. Leave me some feedback down below. And yeah, we'll be back with another video very shortly. Thanks for watching. Yes.